Hi, my name is Paul Arnold and I'm a qualified counselling psychotherapist. And I specialise in relationships because at the end of the day, relationships give us the greatest joys, but also can give us the greatest pain. So what actually happens in the therapy room? Well, there have been lots of TV programs and films that have depicted it, and some for better, some for worse. But in essence, there's going to be two of you within a room and you're going to be talking together. And honestly, you'll be doing more of the talking and the therapist will probably be doing more of the listening. And actually, it's very much about you being the person who's driving it. So I want you to bring into the room something that's been troubling you, something that's been going on within your life, and then we will explore that. And we're often working in the relational now space, by which I mean, what's going on between us together? How am I interacting with you? How are you interacting with me? How are you impacting me? How am I impacting you? And out of that stuff comes a richness you would not believe. To quote the great sort of Leonard Cohen song, where there's a crack, light will get in. And it's very often, you'll just say a word or you'll catch your voice at some point and we'll just say, so what's going on inside of you right now? And then we open up the doors to some amazingly powerful insights. So it's very much about you taking control and you having the courage to bring what you want to bring into that space. And very often we are working, as I say, in a relation space between ourselves, where what we need to do is be open and honest with each other. We often talk about rupture and repair. Maybe I'll say something and I'll sense that, oh, that didn't land with you. And you say, yeah, but it didn't, it really hurt me. And we'll have a conversation about that. Because what goes on in the therapy room is really interesting, because we often are reenacting or recreating our relationships outside. So very often we're looking at what's the patterns that's going on. How did you react to what I just said? Is that how you often react outside? And as you're probably aware, we always talk about, you always see the jokes like, how do you feel? Yes, we do talk about feelings. Because very often it's the feelings area that have been unmet within our lives. We haven't been stabilized in that stuff. And it's the hurts we've had, which we really need to dig into. And very often we actually try to dismiss those feelings and blunt them down. So we're trying to get re-engaged with them. And very often we'll come through our somatic feelings. How does that feel in the body? What's going on? Oh, my stomach feels like a washing machine. I feel really tense and locked up. I feel very short of breath. These are very important signals that we'll be looking out for. And the other thing very commonly you talk about is, we want to go back into your past because we know a lot of stuff happened very early in the life. So, you may joke about, tell me about your mother, but very often that's where it first started. So we do want to go back. We do want to go back in the school playground because these are really important factors that set us to have what we call schemas or mental models of representation. Where we were learning as a very young child, how does a person like me survive in a world like this with people like them around me? And we therefore learn strategies, and very often those strategies that kept us safe and looked after as a young child are no longer serving us now in adulthood. So that's sort of like, and each session, and look, I promise you, not every session you're going to get some amazing insight, because it doesn't work like that. We'll do stuff and maybe you thought it was okay session. Another time, something happens and you burst into tears. Another time you may get really angry and annoyed with the therapist. And that's all good material. And to be open and to keep coming back. Sometimes you think, I really don't want to come, but you've got to keep coming back. And you've got to be open and honest, and brutally open and honest with both the therapist, with yourself. And you've got to talk about the stuff you've never talked with anyone else, and know you will be held. And know when you talk about some of these things, you know it's going to be okay. The therapist is there to support you and hold you in that space. Now, let's talk about a couple of things that the therapist will do. One of the first things the therapist is going to do is basically give you what are the boundaries, what's going to go on there. It's 50 minutes. It's not 55 minutes, right? If you keep pushing 55 minutes, they're going to say, hey, why do you keep doing this? And likewise, if it starts at 9, they want you there at 9. If you keep arriving at 10 past 9, say, what's going on there? They will request that you pay the money probably up front. When you don't, it's like, what's going on there? So the very clear boundaries are being set. And it's as much for you as it is for them. And then obviously, you know, we'll talk about why do you particularly coming to therapy right now? What is the 1 or 2 things you really want to work with? And what we should be doing is then reviewing it over a period of time, you know, and maybe every 6 weeks, say like, let's talk about how it's going. Are we getting closer to what your objective is? And maybe your objective has changed. So that's all stuff that we would want to go and talk about and have an openness and an honesty within that relationship, you know? And obviously at some point in time, we need to discuss about when do we finish? And I'll come on to that in another topic.